Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. It's Tuesday, and the patch notes for patch 8.15 have just been posted, and that means it's time for another patch note rundown. As always, I'll be going through the biggest changes in this week's patch, and letting you guys know what you can be looking forward to in the coming weeks. Now, 8.15 is very small. Again, Riot are trying to keep these patches fairly light on changes in order to maintain things at something of a status quo following the sort of disastrous mid-season patch, so there isn't that much to talk about, but there is quite a few highlights I'd like to delve into, especially with Worlds around the corner. So let's go ahead and dive right into things. First and foremost, starting with champion changes, wanted to talk about Akali. Her rework will be coming to live in 8.15, so you can look forward to using that brand new Twilight Shroud, dashing around, getting lots of damage in, but needing multiple passes to kill your target. If you're a fan of the current terribly designed zero counterplay Akali, get your games in now, as she will be going away with this patch. Good riddance. New Akali looks like a lot of fun. Old Akali, though, I am not sad to see go. Anyways, moving on to actual champion changes, mostly targeting professional picks and things that have been struggling over the last few patches. Fiddlesticks is being nerfed in this patch. His poke is way too high, especially as a support, so he is being nerfed accordingly. His E's mana cost has been increased at early ranks. It ends up the exact same at max level, and his base damage per hit has been reduced on the E, so he won't be doing as much damage and will have to spend a lot more mana to get a similar amount of damage down. So overall, this should really help tone down jungle or support Fiddlesticks in a healthy way. Fizz is being buffed in this patch as well. He is way too weak following the W rework, so he needed a few feel-good buffs to help him get back to where he was before. His W's active base damage and ratio have been increased, and the on-hit damage he gets from his W as well, that ratio has been increased as well. His R's AP ratio has also been increased, so Fizz should be hitting a lot harder in the throughout the game, but especially when he gets a lot more AP built up. Aurelia is being nerfed in this patch as well. Yes, I know, better nerf Aurelia. Riot are still trying to get her to be more about auto-attacking and damage over time, rather than bursting people down with abilities. Her base attack damage and HP have both been increased, and her passives on hit damage has been increased as well. However, her Q range has been decreased and had its base damage and scalings decreased, and now only deals 5 damage base at level 1, so that feels pretty bad. Her W's damage reduction is now a flat 50% at all ranks, so a buff at early ranks and a nerf at later ranks, so really only nerfs her early game and not her late, or actually buffs her early game and only is a nerf once you start hitting later in the game. Her E's range has been decreased as well and had its base damage decreased, but it no longer deals reduced damage to monsters, so Jungle Aurelia players rejoice, you got a small buff. And her R's range has also been decreased, so it will be a lot harder for Aurelia to get onto enemies with any of her abilities, and she'll be hitting a lot less harder, but her passive damage is up, so as long as you can get your stacks going, you'll still do a bunch of damage. Kindred are being nerfed in this patch. They are way too strong after their bug fixes and various other changes they've received in the last couple of patches, so Riot are trying to tone them down into a slightly better form right now. W now only has 25% bonus attack speed from 50% bonus attack speed, and their R's cooldown has been increased by 20 seconds at all ranks, so Kindred will not be able to throw down the Lamb's Respite very often, which is a nerf really directed at pro play, as that's where it's most effective, and Wolf won't be biting quite as often in the just in general, so Kindred should be feeling significantly weaker going forward. Lee Sin is getting buffed in this patch, because Worlds is coming up, I guess, and Lee Sin needs to be there or it wouldn't be Worlds. I don't really know why he's getting buffed, but there you go. Anyways, his Q's base damage and AD ratio have both been increased. Sorry, his Q's base damage has been decreased, but the AD ratio has been increased very slightly to compensate. It no longer deals 8% of the target's missing health when it lands, but it does deal up to 100% increased damage based on their missing health. So a Lee Sin that snowballs will be doing a lot more damage, and he basically has 2 executes on his kit now, so you should be very, very scared of this blind monk showing up in your lane in the near future. Quinn is being nerfed in this patch. She is very, very strong in lane and just very comfortable with getting engaged upon, even though she's an AD carry and should be very scared of that. So Riot are making it so that if she does get engaged on, she won't feel quite as comfortable. Her base armor has been reduced to really make that damage get through if you can get onto her, and her passive's damage has been reduced by 5 across the board, so Quinn won't be dealing as much damage with the Harrier procs, and will be significantly squishier if you can get onto her. Finally, for champions, Thresh is being buffed in 8.15. Riot are trying to throw him a little bit more power, as he has been underperforming for quite some time. His W's cooldown has been decreased at later ranks, and his E's maximum AD contribution has been increased at early ranks, so Thresh will be hitting harder in the early game, and will have significantly more lanterns he can throw out to save allies later on in the game. So hopefully this helps the Chain Warden find a place back in the meta. Moving on to some item changes. First up, the initial item costs of support items, so Ancient Coin, Relic Shield, and Spellthief's Edge, has been increased by 50 gold. This is so supports can't buy as many potions right off the bat, and to give them less of an ability to just kind of sustain through laning phase and never be able to take any damage. So if you are a support player, you're not going to be able to play as aggressively as you could before because you won't have as many potions to heal it all off. Jungle items anti-funnel passive, the Monster Hunter passive that was added in the most recent patch, 8.14, now only grants reduced lane minion gold if you have the highest CS on your team instead of simply the highest gold. What this means is that if you're a jungler and you're doing quite well for yourself and farming up and getting lots of kills across the board, you won't be punished quite as hard because you probably will still have a lower CS total than your lanes. However, if you are being funneled and you have a ton of CS on top of jungle farm, you will still get the reduced lane minion gold. So hopefully this helps snowballing junglers feel a little bit better about themselves when they do get ahead, without also reducing the ability for people to funnel. I really hope that stays as a thing people can't do in the future, and hopefully this change doesn't bring it all back. Next up, for marksman itemization. Crit marksmen are still feeling pretty bad over the last couple of patches just because it takes them so long to hit their item spikes. So Riot are effectively trying to slightly peel back some of the changes they've made without completely reverting them. So most crit items, so Infinity Edge, Storm Razor, Zeal items, Mercurial Scimitar, they all have decreased costs in order to help crit marksmen come online earlier. However, most of these items have generally lost stats. Storm Razor, Infinity Edge in particular have lost a few stats in order to make them more affordable. Zeal items have literally just had their cost reduced, so it should be easier for crit marksmen to hit their item breakpoints. They shouldn't feel quite as strong as they did previously, as these items did lose stats, but they will be able to get their items quicker and turn online much more quickly. Additionally, Essence Reaver had its attack damage increase, so if you are an Essence Reaver champion, you'll feel a little bit better about that as well. Finally, for this patch, a stats tab is being added to the client, so you will be able to check out your stats on various champions, win percentages, win rates against and with, that sort of thing. So that should be really interesting to play around with that data. So looking forward to it. That's going to be it for me today, guys, and that is just about it for 8.15. Relatively small patch here, so not that much else to talk about. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and let me know which changes you're most excited for down in the comment section below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Really looking forward to that Akali rework. I can't wait to try her out. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days like today as well. And if you're looking for Grab the Lantern content, you can check out my blog, link down in the description. I upload articles just about each and every single day for your enjoyment. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.